Hi, guys. I wanted to explain a little bit of what we're aiming for when we study the Bible in our core groups. And really, I think a really helpful model is the lift model. And I was talking to the guys about this the other day. Here, if you have a building here, you have a ground floor, you have a first floor, you have a second floor. Let's say the ground floor is feelings. Let's say the first floor is our thoughts. Let's say the top floor is our actions. Now, sometimes what we feel informs what we think, and that ought to then inform how we act. So this is our emotional life. This is like our beliefs and our thought life, and our actions are the things that we do, the things we actually like kind of go forward in life. Now, sometimes, I mean, yeah, that from the ground floor to the top floor, sometimes that's the way we go. But sometimes we might do something that we end up enjoying, and then we realize, oh, actually, it's a good thing. So, regardless of a good example of that is running. I never really liked running until I did it for a very long time, for a couple years, and then I actually started to like it. I started feeling like I liked it, and then I realized, yeah, I know it's a good thing for me, but now I was like telling other people about it. And so sometimes we might start at one floor and go to another and go around, and that's all fine. But the thing that we want to make sure that we're not missing is what is going on underneath. Giving like the engine room of all this is actually in the basement below the water line. And this is what the Bible calls is our heart. This is where we experience desires, passions, the things that motivate our feelings, the things that motivate our thoughts, the things that motivate our actions. And so all of these things are bubbling above the surface, and we can talk about these. Sometimes guys are better talking about what they do. Sometimes girls are better talking about how they feel. Sometimes that's not true. It's a very broad brushstroke kind of thing. But underneath it all, for everybody, what's going on here is what's going to give rise to these floors here. Now, how does this work when we come to the Bible? When we come to the Bible, what we want to do is whatever floor we get in on, which is completely fine, we want to make sure we don't miss the heart. We want to make sure we don't miss what's going on inside of us. The Bible says the heart is the essence of who you are, what makes you you. The heart is what's recreated when Jesus makes us a new creation. That's the thing that starts first. In Proverbs 4, we're told to guard our heart because everything else in our life flows from it. So that's really important. So we want to make sure we do talk about theology. If we only talk about theology, that ends up we having a Bible study, and that's completely fine. But a core group is something more than just a Bible study. It includes a Bible study, but something more than that. Now, if we're talking about our emotional lives, which is definitely something we should do, if we only talked about that, it would kind of function more like a support group. Now, I hope that we're a support to each other, and I think we are, encouraging and things like that, but we can't only be that. And if we only talk about what we're doing, we kind of end up like an activist group, and we just talk about our actions and the what we're going to accomplish and things like that. Now, a core group should be all of these things, but the only way it can be all of these things is if we're going to engage the heart, if we're going to engage our desires, going to engage the deepest part of who we are. And really, if you think about it, that's what the word core means. The core of you is your heart. That's what the Bible says. So we don't want to miss out on that. In fact, here is where we can actually really practice confessing to each other. In fact, if we don't go to the heart, we can have a really well thought out theology. We can even do lots of good things, maybe even feel good about it, but yet we still be in addictions. We'll still be stuck in addictions like to pornography or alcohol, or we'll still not really be enjoying our partners or our friends in the way that we ought to. Or when we do these things, we won't be engaging with whatever those things might be with the core of who we are. So that's just one example. So confession is such an important part because it really brings our heart to the text. If we aren't engaging our heart, then we can't really pray in the way that the Bible calls us to pray a prayer with all of who we are. And so we can pray with the right theology, we can pray with the right emotions, we can pray towards the right things and do the right things. But if we aren't engaging the heart, then we really aren't getting to like real prayer of where it really kind of an overflow of who we are into this world that is. And so I just bring this up as a way of a lift model. Whether you come in on the ground floor, whether you come in on the first floor or the second floor, all of that is fine. And we need to talk about all these things, but let's not miss the aspect of the heart. And those are questions we can be asking each other. This is what it means when we bring our lives to the text. And this is something that we want to continue to do as a core group together. Thank you guys for being awesome. And hopefully this is helpful.